Namaskar. Thank you very much for being here. It's nice to be surrounded by so many denim heads. What a difference a few years make. When I first started coming to India about 15 years ago probably, denim was virtually unknown here. I think there were 3 mills at the time. The production was relatively small. People in India would not really wear jeans a lot. And actually, when the weather is always 30, 40 degrees, a 14-ounce denim is not something you want to wear all day. But over the last 10, 15 years, things have changed dramatically. And people have started to really embrace the blue garments. And it's funny that it took so long, actually, because if you think about it, India is actually where it was all born. The Indus Valley is where cotton was cultivated by men for the first time, maybe 2,000 years before Christ. Indigo has been one of the biggest products coming out of India for centuries. The name indigo, obviously, is a clear telltale that it came from this country. For 3,000 years, indigo dye has been really, really popular here, used in many different types of textiles. And maybe there were even people wearing blue pants. Of course, they were not called blue jeans, but they were wearing blue pants here for many, many years. So it's kind of a return to the origins for the blue stuff. Now, like Sandeep said, I spent many years in this business, and I have been involved in denim from the fabric side to the brand side, to design, product development, to branding, marketing. I currently have a design studio in California, but I'm also acting as creative director for Arvind, the denim division here in India. So I do spend a lot of time here. And it's exciting to see how things are growing and developing. This is one of the few markets in a relatively stable or flat global economy where you can see that there's an upward trend. I think if we're lucky in Europe and in North America, we're going to stay flat over the next decades. Where we're going to see growth is going to be here. It's going to be very, very exciting for all the people who are involved in this. Like I said, 40, 45 mills now. And we think it's a lot of capacity today because it is. But in a few years, it may not even be enough to cover the demands of the local market. Because if you think in the States, I think people have an average of 7 pairs of jeans. Here, I think the average for India, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 0.4. So you can imagine with a population of this size, when people decide that they want 1 pair, 2 pairs, 3 pairs of jeans, the demand is going to be gigantic. But that's going to be the subject maybe for another meeting. We're going to be talking today about the secret of success for a denim brand. And let's get the expectations clear. You're not going to walk out of here with all the secrets to become successful overnight. What I'm hoping is that you will have a few ideas, a few notes that will help you focus a little bit in your endeavors. At the end of the presentation, like I put there, I would like to have maybe 5-10 minutes for questions and answers. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please do participate. If you want to talk to me afterwards, I'll be around here, so I'll be happy to talk to you guys. What I want to talk to you about today is trying to figure out what is the secret of success for some brands. And I decided to use 3 examples of 3 brands that I had the pleasure of being involved with. One is Levi Strauss and Company. And if anybody here does not know who Levi Strauss was, please walk out of the room and don't come back until you do, because that is where it all started. The second brand that I would like to talk about is 7 for All Mankind from Los Angeles. And the third one that you probably never heard of is a brand that I had with Bob Marley's family, and it was called Tough Gone Clothing. And I want to use these 3 because there are 3 examples of different brands that were successful or are successful in different ways. And there are learnings from all three of them. So let's start. Let's start with Levi's. Now, Levi's is something that we all know, and it's been successful for a very, very, very long time. It went to a point where in the early 90s, it reached about $7 billion of sales. It dropped to $4 billion very quickly, and people started wondering if it was the end of Levi's or what the problem was. I think the only problem was that the $7 billion was a fluke. It was maybe too big, and it was just because there was nobody else offering a similar product, and they took the whole marketplace. $4 billion is probably more realistic. They are the first. They were not the first people to make blue pants, of course, because blue jeans had been around for a while. But between Jacob Davis and Levi Strauss, they realized there was an actual real need in the marketplace for pants that were sturdy, and they would be strong enough to be used by people who were working in the mines, farmers, cowboys, whatever. And they needed something that was more resistant than what they were already wearing. So they came up with the invention of the rivet. That's the one thing that really created the blue jean that we know today. A pair of blue pants with reinforcement on the pockets so that it would take more stress. And they invented the category. There are very few products where one brand becomes a synonym for the product itself. You could think, for example, Kleenex becomes the name for audio tissues. You think Hoover for your vacuum cleaners. You think for four-wheel drive cars, you always refer to the Jeep. There are obviously a lot of other four-wheel vehicles that can do just as well. Land Rover is actually a much better car than Jeep. But when you say, I need to take a car to go out in the woods, you say, I'll take my Jeep. And Levi's became the synonym for blue jeans. So if you say, I'm going to wear my Levi's and a shirt, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to wear a pair of Levi Strauss & Company. It means you're wearing a pair of blue jeans, and everybody will understand what you're talking about. That's something that does not happen very often. And when you are the originator, when you come up with a concept, of course you have an advantage over everybody else. You will have competition, you will have people copying you will have people trying to improve your product, and they will take some of the market, but you will always be regarded as the first who came up with the idea. And this is one brand that I think is never going to disappear because of that, because they have become synonym for the product, for the category. They've had their ups and downs, of course, and they have a lot of competition. When I was there, I always used to say that our biggest competitor, our biggest enemy is ourselves, because whenever we screwed something is when we had the bad repercussions. Not so much because other people in the marketplace were coming with other product. So, in a nutshell, the secret of Levi's success, other than being the first, is that since 1873, they consistently deliver a product that people wanted and loved. Now, they were the first. We cannot be the first again, so we need to think of something else, right? Next case study. This is a company that started in Los Angeles in the early 2000s. And this is probably one of the biggest success stories in jeans in the last decade. I think the only one that was kind of similar before that was Guess, again out of Los Angeles. But this was interesting because they did not invent the category, they did not invent the product, but they were the largest pushers of this new emerging category that was the so-called premium denim. Up to that point, selling jeans in the US for over $100 was unheard of. In the US, jeans are a commodity. I think 70% of the jeans sold in the States are still below $30. So it's really a commodity product. It's not a high-end product. The only people who were selling expensive stuff in those days were imports from Italy and from Japan. So you could buy diesel jeans for more than $100. You could buy Japanese jeans for more than $100. But it was this big. It was nothing. It was just a few people. Maybe they were traveling to Europe, or maybe they wanted to have something really exclusive, so they would do that. But other than that, there was nothing. Then there was one small company called Earl Jeans. They had a very simple, clean jean, but they came out with a price point that was just above $100. Then our friend Adriano Goldschmidt came over, and he started a brand called A. Goldie, and he also was selling jeans for over $100. So there was like a slightly growing interest in jeans that were expensive. And Jerome, the guy who started Seven, he put together the perfect package. He found a great pattern maker from France who developed a beautiful fit. So the jeans had a fantastic fit. He decided to work only with fabrics that were not commonly available in the States. So he was only using fabrics from Japan and from Italy. And then, in one of his trips over to Europe, he went to visit a laundry called Martelli, and he saw a bunch of really beautiful washes there. And he thought, maybe if I can introduce those in the U.S., I can have an interesting product. So it started very, very small. The first season was just ridiculously small. The prices were high, considering the marketplace, but the reaction from the customer was unbelievable. People just fell in love with the product. They loved the fact that it was new, that it was exclusive, that it was a new niche, and that it was making women look really beautiful when they were wearing these jeans. I think the one thing that we probably invented was the sophisticated casual category. We had pants that looked sharp and nice, but they were also casual, so you could wear them to go to work, but you could also wear them to go out. You could wear them to go take your kids to the soccer game. And the interesting thing that it's something that grew like a wildfire. There was no PR, there was no advertising, there was nothing of the conventional tools that we're using today to push a brand. It was really word of mouth. We never paid a celebrity to wear our product. We had celebrities calling us on a regular basis, begging us to know when a new pair of jeans was going to be in the stores and asking where they could buy it. They were not asking for freebies. Now, if you want a celebrity to wear your jeans, you have to pay them. I think if you want one of these new famous guys to wear your jeans, it's like they say, okay, you pay me $50,000, pay me $100,000, and I'll wear your jeans, so I get photographed and people will like them. So it was completely different, and it was not the traditional way of marketing a brand. But there was obviously a need in the marketplace. There was nobody who was actually filling that need, and the brand managed to do exceedingly well. I joined a couple of years after the company was started to replace the original creator, and things were going like crazy. I had never seen anything like it. We could not do wrong. We could have done anything, and people would have bought it. Actually, we didn't have men's jeans in our line, and the retailers started calling and begging us to do a men's line, because they said, we have guys who come to the store and they buy your women's jeans and they wear them because they just want to have the brand. So I started a small selection of men's, and we did $20 million the first year. It was just ridiculous. It grew very fast. It got to big numbers. Eventually, it was taken over by VF. Now it's been sold again. I think you know the story. But for about 10 years, they were the undiscussed market leader in that segment. With success, you also have you have a lot of benefits, but you also have some downsides. And one that is very obvious is the fact that all the people who liked you and they wanted you in the first place because you were an exclusive brand, they don't think you are that exclusive anymore because you're sold everywhere. You go to any store, any party, and any place, and you will see another 20 women wearing the same jeans. So the original adopters did not really feel that it was their brand anymore, and they switched to something else. So basically, it went from being very exclusive, very high-end, to more of a, I wouldn't call it a mass market brand yet, but that's where they eventually will end up. So in this case, I would say the secret of their success was the FFF, the fit, the fabrics, and the finish. And that's something that we can obviously use for any brand that we want to do, because these are foundations that are important for anything that we do. The third, I don't want to run out of time. The third one is something that I was involved with, and that although we had reasonable success for a while, we had to eventually shut down, and I'll tell you the reason why in a second. But I think it's important to talk about things that, with all the right prerequisites, did not have the success that they should have had. So we had a brand that was inspired by Bob Marley, probably the most important, most famous artist in the last 50 years. We had a great message. We had a great product. We're using beautiful fabrics, beautiful finish, beautiful fit. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the product at all. We had huge following. We had a website with hundreds of thousands of visitors. People absolutely loved it. But we never really got to the big volume. And I always say, if you have a brand and you don't sell the majors, or you don't reach a certain volume, you have a hobby, you don't have a business. Because you have a lot of expenses, but you don't really have enough coming in to support the brand. So eventually you have to make a decision, and you either keep throwing money into the brand and wait for it to come to maturity, or you better cut your losses. In that case, because the family was obviously more in the music business than in fashion, we decided to stop it. But the lesson there that we learned, and like I said, it's important that we learn from failures, because otherwise we keep making the same mistake, and if we expect a different outcome, we're completely insane. It's the fact that there is something that you can call an aspirational customer, and there's a real customer. So all the people who loved everything that we were doing, they absolutely loved it. They were not ready or willing or able to spend $170 for a pair of jeans, or $50 for a t-shirt, or $200 for a jacket. So there was a potential market that was really big. There was interest, there was a product, but like I said there, likes mean nothing. You can have 1 million followers and sell nothing. Rolls-Royce could have 10 million followers. It doesn't mean they're going to sell 10 million cars. It means absolutely nothing if you don't have a match between your real customer and the aspirational customer, which, if you follow me so far, will bring us to the logical conclusion. The secret for a denim brand is not necessarily limited to a denim brand. It's a secret for any business that we want to start. And it's think like your customer. We were making a great product for us. We were not thinking who our customer was, or what they wanted to buy, or how much they wanted to pay for that product. So even though in theory we had a fantastic product, it didn't materialize because there was no match. Levi's thinks like their customers, because they realized there was a real need on the marketplace, and they filled it. Seven understood that there was a potential market for people who wanted better jeans, they wanted to be different from the crowd, and they filled that need. So in a nutshell, this is really all you need to remember. And if you leave this presentation remembering this, I think it's going to help you more than any long discussion about should I make the whiskers bigger or should I use a different fabric or lighter or heavier weight. That's irrelevant. Just focus on understanding who your customer is and what they want to buy and how they want to buy it and where they want to buy it, and you will succeed. And before we close, I wanted to use another quote that I always use when I do presentations because it's so beautiful and so simple, from Yves Saint Laurent. And really this tells all about blue jeans. They have everything. And that's why 150 years later, we're not only seeing a growth of jeans, but it's an explosion across the planet. So, thank you very much. And please remember to make denim great again. And if